Hi there everyone, I'm Omar Abosh, Accenture CEO for Comms, Media and Technology, and I'm delighted to be joined today by two awesome leading thinkers, Hans Vestberg, the CEO of Verizon, and Rima Qureshi, the CSO, the Chief Strategy Officer of Verizon, who are leading thinkers in the whole space of innovation. We're here in Davos today, where all the talk is about the fourth industrial revolution and how society and business brings modern innovation and use it to its full potential. And so this is the conversation we're going to have. So Hans, congratulations, relatively recent as the CEO of Verizon.
Thank you.
Before that, the Chief Technology Officer.
Yes.
And you've witnessed many evolutions and waves of technology over your career.
Yes, I
So
have.
when you think about how you can use technology to drive strategy and value, why don't you talk us through what you've seen at Verizon and beyond?
I think that I think the first thing we thought about some 1.5 years ago was when you go into 5G and a lot of the things you can do with 5G, we need to unify our network. We spent a lot of time to actually building one sort of horizontal network instead of we had several vertical networks because historically technology-wise product didn't work for different type of use cases. So we actually started to convert the whole network. We call it the Verizon Intelligent Edge Network. That's where we started, because if you can have a clean line of sight, then you can start doing some of the great things you can do with 5G. So I think that's where we started. Secondly, I think one thing which is a little bit underestimated, we talk about the fourth industrial revolution all the time, and which is an important thing. But if you think about the first and the second industrial revolution, and partly the third one as well, they have consumed a lot of natural resources on this planet. What we need to see right now is that the fourth industrial revolution and the technologies in that, if it's 5G, AI, ML, whatever it might be, they need to actually help us to reduce the use of natural resources. So of course I see a lot of use cases from that area, at the same time thinking about we need to have one network in order to be capable of delivering that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hans. I mean, so you're thinking way beyond just the application of the immediate use of the network and the technology, but also dealing with some of the externalities that we grapple with in a resource-constrained planet. So that's great. Thank you. And Rima, you have a role to think hard about the ecosystems that Verizon has to develop and help Verizon's customers figure out how to adopt all this modern innovation that you're driving, like 5G technology and the intelligent edge network.
Good.
Which
Very
we love.
good.
I'm learning. I'm a slow learner, but I get there in the end. And so, how would you advise big enterprise customers to think about what this innovation can bring them and how they may create value?
I think the first thing to remember is this is way beyond connectivity. So we should not think about 5G as just the next generation of technology and just faster speeds. It isn't an evolution. Of course, there will be aspects of the technology and products and services which will be evolutionary, but this is a revolution. And we really need to have our customers and overall partners really think about it as transformative. And if we have all of the capabilities that we will get with 5G, how can you really look at your businesses in a different way? And by the way, you need to look at your businesses in a different way because somebody else is going to be looking at it that way and thinking about how they can disrupt you with the capabilities that the technology brings.
Yeah, fantastic. And actually what you're describing there, Rima, we often talk about making a wise pivot from a core business into a new business. And
Right.
if you don't make that pivot, as you said, someone else will capture the potential value from all these new innovations. In fact, I'm going to make a plug. I'm publishing a book called Pivot to the Future on this exact topic. So,
Good.
so
Rima's going to read it.
Yeah.
Nice lead-in. Nice lead-in.
Lucky Rima. So Hans, when you're talking to fellow CEOs and saying, hey, you realize all this innovation is out there, giving opportunities for disruptors to create new value, doing things better, faster, cheaper for their customers. How do you encourage them to think about, becoming a more innovation-embracing organization themselves, no matter what the industry sector is?
I think to be honest, the last couple of years I've seen so much more leaning forward of the traditional industries, meaning they understand they need to transform. The problem is that large corporation, and we are a large corporation as well, and I think the whole idea how how you become agile in large corporation over time, that has to be technology driven. And you need to rethink the ways you've been working before, and you need to be ready to cannibalize things like that. And I think that conversation is ongoing every time I meet a CEO, and it goes for us as well, but I think even more for industries that are more traditional. And that conversation then takes them to try to understand the technologies, the underlying technologies, and what it can do for them. And I think it's an evolution, but in some cases it's needed with revolution. And when you come with 5G and you just take the 30 minutes to understand what 5G is, and it's so different design than any previous wireless technology, I think that the majority of the CEOs I met, wow, I didn't think about that. Maybe we can do it like that. And that's what Rima is talking about. That's the conversation we need to have, because historically, we didn't need to really have that conversation as a carrier. We had the connectivity. Hey, you do whatever you want on top of it. I think in this next leapfrog that we're doing with technology, we actually need to have the conversation. Do you need good latency, or do you need to save battery lifetime on the device you're doing? Do you need millions of connected devices, or do you need enormous throughput? There are so many facets of the 5G, and you cannot really grasp it if you don't try to understand the underlying. Or then that's our job, Rima and me, to talk about that potential, and then we need innovation from the different type of CEOs and their organizations.
Hans has done a great tutorial. He can explain 5G in about an hour if you like. Watch his CES keynote.
Yeah.
It's very well explained.
Yeah.
I think the CES keynote was awesome, actually. And I think we've already been seeing some technology company CEOs put their technology in the context of industry use cases. And honestly, for our audience here, what Hans did at CES is one of the best I've ever seen in terms of real practical use cases of what modern technology can bring. So let me come to a slightly harder topic for both of you, which is one of the reasons, and you talked about externalities with natural resources earlier, but sometimes modern technology has unintended consequences.
Yes.
When we conceived the internet, people thought about redundancy and the danger of nuclear war, but they actually didn't design the thing for security.
Right.
And the usage of the internet has vastly gone beyond what its founders would ever have conceived. Actually, how do we create more trust in the world today? How do we make the internet an internet of trust in order to really maximize the potential value that is available in the digital economy? How would you encourage us?
Maybe I can start. I would say, first of all, we should not slow down technology evolution as a result of the fear of the unintended consequences of technology. That's important. Regardless, I think we do have a role overall as a company, as all companies within the technology industry, really to raise the issue of security and raise the issue of trust. And we are very much focused on ensuring that we create that trust within our customer base as well as within the employee base. We are the trusted holder of your data, the trusted provider to you for all of the most important solutions. And I think what we need to do is to ensure that those issues of security are raised to the highest level, and that those issues can be shared without any repercussions. That's extremely important to the CEO, to the board level, at whatever level is needed.
Thanks, Rima.
And I think that what we see with this technology revolution we're seeing right now, you see, there's so much things that are great with technology. There's so much technology for good. You can do. You can combat some of the larger challenges on Earth today with the technology we're coming out with. Of course, they're also bringing some challenges. And I think that Rima talked about the security. It has to be top on our minds, because we believe that anything that benefits from being connected will be connected. I think the other thing is, of course, privacy. What we forget is that any technology revolution could be up to 60 years. We are very early on here when we talk about privacy, etc. So that also have to evolve. The third one that you also need to think about is, of course, that legislation. Because you are many times doing regulation based on previous technologies. So that's also a challenge. And keeping all this together in order to make the world in a better place, you need to fight also the challenges that comes with it. And I think that awareness are coming up, but I think we're going to see it. And to be honest, in all technology revolution, of course, the bad guys are always moving where the technology is going. So we just need to see that we keep them out, because if we cannot use these technologies, this world will not be sustainable. We cannot build what the Western world have done because they're going to consume too much resources. We have to do it digitally, and we as responsible companies, your company, our company, actually have to take that discussion and seeing that we don't lose the trust of the individual or the enterprise using it. I think it's so important, because if not, we're going to have a tough time.
That's so clear, and thank you so much. I mean, so we're publishing a document on securing the digital economy this week here in Davos, and speaking to 1,700 executives, including 60% of those are CEOs. And the conclusion basically is, look, 10 years ago, 25% of companies used the internet for their business operations.
Yeah.
Today it's everybody,
Yeah.
and increasing in terms of the amount of reach in the operation. And yet people are not so confident that they can secure it. So CEOs are saying, actually, they have to collaborate. They have to do exactly what you said, Rima, elevate security as part of the mission, and get involved in real live conversations with the regulators, with governments on things like privacy.
Yes.
So I know we can rely on you two as amazing leaders and driving this agenda. So thank you so much for spending the time with me today. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.